So lads, today we're going to be talking about something, and apologies, just back from pickup, so breathing might be a little bit hard, but yeah, it's something that I've wanted to talk about for quite a bit, and in my opinion, this is something to say, not that I want to talk about, that I don't want to talk about, but I've talked about quite a lot because you kind of have to. And it was funny, it was like, I saw a post last year, and it was literally talking about how all of the, it was like any award that you felt the player got robbed. And literally every single comment was, basically every single award over the last 3 years that A'ja Wilson didn't win. A'ja Wilson won best crossover in the WNBA. They literally gave her, or they put her in the best crossover from literally just crossing the ball over. Did she drop anyone? No, she just crossed the ball over. However, this is
So, lads, today we're going to talk about something. Apologies in advance. I just got back from pickup, so my voice might sound a little rough. But yeah, this is something I've wanted to discuss for a while. Well, not exactly wanted to, but it's something I've talked about quite a bit because you kind of have to.
This is a tweet that I think is just completely embarrassing. And by the way, this is from, I'm not going to show the name, but this is from A'ja Wilson's friend. This is from A'ja Wilson's friend, and I'm going to give, obviously, my opinion on this. And this is a problem is that, in general, when it comes to WNBA talk, you cannot say that A'ja Wilson's not the best player in the world when she's not. Nneka Collier is on a 7-0 Minnesota Lynx team and is averaging 26.3 points and 8.3 rebounds per game, and she's doing it on 51% from the field and 45% from three. To say A'ja Wilson is not really, really good is wrong. The Las Vegas Aces are 4-2 on the season. She is averaging 23, 10.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and a lot of steals on 47% from the field and 26% from three. So Fia is shooting 4% better from the field, 20% better from three. Am I right in saying that? Yeah, 20% better from three. And she is also not statistically as good a defender, but she's a better defender.
It was funny. I saw a post last year that basically listed every award where people felt a player got robbed. And in almost every single comment, it was about how A'ja Wilson didn't win. A'ja Wilson actually won Best Crossover in the WNBA. They literally gave her that award just for crossing the ball over. Did she drop anyone? No, she just crossed over. That's it. But here's the thing. There's this tweet I saw that I think is completely embarrassing.
She's still averaging a crazy amount of stocks, but she is the better defender because she's more versatile. She defends better on the perimeter. She's not as good a shot blocker, which A'ja Wilson is, but she actually guards people. A'ja Wilson just chills under the basket. And in terms of getting in passing lanes, they're very similar. So, Fia is the best player in the world. And since, whatever about last regular season, Nneka Collier averaged 40 points in a playoff series last year. She was the finals MVP. And I understand, fair play, congratulations to Jonquel Jones winning it. But it was daylight robbery. Everybody knows. LeBron James was calling the WNBA rigged. Damian Lillard was calling the WNBA rigged. Everybody knows that that the WNBA final was, if not rigged, at least was decided by horrific refereeing. We all know that. So Nneka Collier won MVP and Unrivaled.
It's from A'ja Wilson's friend, and I'm going to share my opinion on it. The problem is, when it comes to WNBA discussions, you're not allowed to say that A'ja Wilson isn't the best player in the world, even when she's not. Nneka Collier is on a 7-0 Minnesota Lynx team, averaging 26.3 points, 8.3 rebounds, shooting 51%.
Was by far the best player, and because Unrivaled was one and done, her team just had a cold shooting game and another team had a really hot shooting game, so they lost in the semifinals. It happens. They lost to a team, was it the Vinyl, that had absolutely no business being even in the semifinals, but they made it there. But it is what it is. It's a 3-on-3 league. But even people want to hype up Unrivaled. Nneka Collier is she? I'm pretty sure she's leading the WNBA in scoring right now. Is she? I think she's leading the WNBA in scoring, doing it on stupid efficiency. She's barely missing free throws. She's shooting 92% from the free throw line. She's doing it from mid. She's as good, at least an equivalent mid-range shooter to A'ja Wilson. she's just better at basketball. And she does everything within the flow of the offense. She's just better at basketball. And that's not saying A'ja Wilson's bad. I think A'ja Wilson's the second best player in the WNBA. My rankings would go, if you're asking me, Fee, A'ja, Caitlin. And if you want to say, oh, Caitlin doesn't do this, Caitlin doesn't do that, watch how Caitlin Clark's team plays without her.
From the field and 45% from three. Saying A'ja Wilson isn't really good is just wrong. The Las Vegas Aces are 4-2 this season, and A'ja averages 23 points, 10.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, plus a lot of steals, shooting 47% from the field, but only 26% from three. FE, Nneka Collier, shoots 4% better from the field and 20% better from three than A'ja.
I'm sorry, Caitlin Clark, there's nobody who can do what Caitlin Clark does. But if you want to argue Alyssa Thomas there, fine. Stewie, no. Stewie's not even the best player on her own team. We're putting John Quell over Stewie, if we're being completely honest here. But, like, if you're looking at stats on the season, like, Nneka Collier, I'm pretty sure, is she leading in points per game? So, in terms of total points, it is Kelsey Plum, who has played more games. Fee is currently averaging, I'm not joking when I say this, Fee is averaging like 4 points per game more than A'ja Wilson. She's doing it on one more shot per game. Obviously, she's shooting a lot. She's shooting more threes at a better percentage. And by the way, they're actually the exact same. They've made the exact same shot, the same amount of free throws. Brittany Sykes at the free throw line, like, oh my God. In fairness, A'ja Wilson's kind of struggling a bit from the free throw line.
Defensively, while A'ja is a better shot blocker, Fie is a more versatile defender, especially on the perimeter. She defends better overall and still racks up a lot of steals. A'ja tends to camp under the basket more. Their ability to get in passing lanes is similar. Fie has been the best player in the world since last regular season. She averaged 40 points in a playoff series last year and was Finals MVP. I get it. Fair play to Jonquel Jones winning it.
But like A'ja Wilson's doing it on sub 47% from the field. Like she's doing it sub 50%. So like it's a worse percentage. Look. I'm not saying A'ja Wilson's bad. I'm just saying Nneka Collier is better. And it is absolute. Like you're not allowed to say that. You are not allowed in WNBA circles say that Nneka Collier is better. Because if you say Nneka Collier is better, you're going to see a think piece. You're going to see a think piece saying something like this. It's absolutely no diss to Fee, but her proximity to whiteness put her in the perfect position for them to use her as the next case of who will challenge A'ja. It's not using her to challenge A'ja. She's just better than A'ja right now. And that's not saying A'ja can't become better than, at some stage, A'ja can't lead the freaking Aces to a title, or A'ja can't retake the crown, but right now it's Fee. And now you've got A'ja Wilson's friend, who I'm not even giving this guy a platform. I'm not even going to mention this guy, but this guy, A'ja Wilson and Dawn Staley's good friend, having a white husband help create a league to give you more of a platform doesn't help the case either. Like, what are we doing?
But that was a daylight. Robbery. Everyone knows LeBron James called the WNBA rigged. Damian Lillard called it rigged. People know the finals were at least decided by horrible refereeing. Nneka Collier was clearly the MVP. Her team just had a cold shooting night. And another. Team had a hot one, so they lost in the semifinals. That's basketball.
And by the way, this is a person who, like, talks nonsense in Twitter spaces, and you've got, like, Tyler Marsh, the freaking Chicago Sky coach in them. You've got coaches in these things. And that's the thing where it's like, it is the most embarrassing thing ever. It is the most embarrassing thing ever. Like, there's this league, there is legitimately, and I mean this, there is legitimately something, like, it is a problem with the league. It is a problem with the league that, that players legit just can't, like, they just can't realize it. Like, nothing in this league, nothing even in the media. If you suggest that Nneka Collier, who is better than Kate, she's better than Caitlin Clark, but who's better than A'ja Wilson, there's no argument for who the best player in the world is, by the way. It is Nneka Collier. I said Nneka Collier was the best player in the world last season. And, like, she is the best defender in the WNBA. We're not using Hassan Whiteside-nomics to crown A'ja Wilson as the best defender in the WNBA. She is the best rim protector in the WNBA, I'm going to be honest. She is the best rim protector, and I am by absolute no means like saying that she's not a good defender or the best rim protector, but Nneka Collier is the best defender in the WNBA. Unless you want to talk about like guards. And then I'm trying to even think who I would consider the best guards in the WNBA. Or on defense. Like Court's okay. Ryan Howard just runs around hacking people. I think Lexi Hull's defense has actually been exceptional this year. I think she's been exceptional. I'm not putting Sonia Citra on the top defenders conversation. Kayla McBride's a really good defender. There's a lot of really good defending guards. And I think Dejanay just goes around hacking people. Jackie Young, when she wants to be, is probably one of the best defenders in the W. But like...
They lost to a team that had no business being in the semis, but they made it. This is a 3-on-3 league, basically. Even people hyping Jonquel Jones, Nneka Collier, is probably leading the league in scoring right now. She's doing it with crazy efficiency, shooting 92% from the free throw line. She's as good, if not better, mid-range shooter than Aja and just better at basketball overall. She flows perfectly within the offense. I'm not saying Aja. Wilson is bad. She's the second best player in the league, in my opinion.
If we're being honest, if you're watching games, especially in games that the Aces are winning, I don't know who the best player in the Aces has been between Jackie Young and Aja Wilson. Aja Wilson had 35 against the scrub Sparks. And that's fine. Like, it's fine when you're coming up against a bad team having 35. But, like, other than that, Nneka Collier's been unbelievable. She's been unbelievable. If you look at the game logs as well, she had 16 in a game, and then she was injured right after that. So she got injured right after having her worst game of the year. That's her first bad game of the year. She had 30-something to start the year. I think she had like 30-something, 28, 23, 28, 33, 16, 24. Like, it is so consistent. She does everything with the flow of her offense. She's a super consistent player overall. And there's just no argument to be made that right now. And you might be saying, oh, she just had a hot start. But it wasn't like she wasn't arguably the best player in the world last season. She was. It's not like she didn't average 40 points against the Phoenix Mercury.
My rankings: Phi, Nneka Collier, Caitlin Clark, then Aja Wilson. And if you want to argue about Caitlin, watch how her team plays without her. Nobody does what Caitlin Clark does. Could make a case for Alyssa Thomas, fine. But Stewart? No, Stewart's not even the best player on her own team. Jonquel Jones is above her, honestly. If you look at season stats...
And if she didn't... The ironic thing is, if she averaged 30 in that playoff series, they lose. She carried the Lynx through a playoff series against a tough Mercury team, basically by herself averaging 40. But no, you're not allowed to say that, because apparently the only reason... Like, is it not embarrassing? And by the way, these are people that are in the vicinity of the WNBA media. They're in the vicinity of the media, and this is the reason why you have to talk about this. Because you're not allowed to talk about basketball. You're not allowed to talk about basketball in the WNBA, otherwise something's wrong. Something's wrong with it. If you do not think that Aja Wilson is, is the greatest basketball player of all time, if you don't think Aja Wilson would beat Josh Hart in a one-on-one 11-0, if you don't think Aja Wilson could solve world hunger if she wanted to, it's apparently only because of what Aja Wilson looks like and where Aja Wilson was born. I think Aja Wilson's a really good basketball player. I think she's a really good basketball player. That's it. Do I like Aja Wilson? Hell no. One of the main reasons there's two main reasons I don't like Aja Wilson. I don't like any player.
Nneka Collier's probably leading points per game. Kelsey Plum has more total points because she played more games, but Fee is averaging about 4 points more per game than Aja, on just one more shot per game. They've made the exact same number of free throws. Brittany Sykes shoots better from the line than Aja, but Aja is shooting under 50% from the field.
Saying they feel unsafe in Indiana because they're like, we think something might pop off. Because nothing has happened in the crowd at Indiana games. Whatever about on social media with fans, it is what it is. Nothing has happened in the crowd, and those crowd are mostly kids. I don't like I will say this, any player that is just made up that they don't feel safe there with no evidence, they instantly go on my fuck you list, because you're basically just calling a bunch of kids racist. Kids of all races, by the way. You've called a bunch of kids racist and a bunch of kids that are the same race as you, basically calling them freaking... I've heard them calling them freaking traitors, which is like the most embarrassing thing. These are kids. I don't like any of these players that have said this, and Aja Wilson's included in that. And one of the main reasons I don't like Aja Wilson is that anytime she gets called out for her like horrible good friend it becomes like, it genuinely becomes a, like, she starts complaining and almost playing the victim, and it's like, dude, like, you are just literally.
That's not bad, but Fee shoots better. I'm not saying Aja is bad. I'm saying Fee is better, and you're not allowed to say that in WNBA circles without a think piece coming after you, complaining that Fee's proximity to whiteness puts her in the perfect position as the next challenger to Aja. It's not about challenging Aja. Fi is just better right now. That doesn't mean Aja can't become better or lead the Aces to a title. But right now, it's Fee.
Like, again, I'm not saying the guy is 100% guilty of something, because it is like, you don't want to say a guy's guilty if he's not, but what that dude was accused of and what he was charged for, that he may or he possibly did, is horrible. And if anyone ever, this Dawn Staley tweets out this guy all the time, and if anyone says anything negative to Dawn Staley, they get blocked. Like, it's a freaking cult. It's a freaking Mean Girls club with the South Carolina ones at the top, and unfortunately, Aja Wilson is Queen Bee. And if you say in one negative word about her, it can never be about basketball. It can never be about basketball, because the best female basketball player in the world right now is Nneka Collier.
Now, about Aja Wilson's friend, who I'm not even going to name or give a platform to. This guy is close to Dawn Staley and has even helped create platforms to give Aja more exposure. But it doesn't help. The case when nonsense like this is being said.
And again, it's not saying that someone can't take the crown back. There was a stage where Giannis Antetokounmpo was the best male basketball player in the world, and then Jokic went and snatched his chain. Jokic became the best male basketball player in the world. And then there was a time where you could maybe argue Luka coming into last year's playoffs because of what he did get into the finals. But Jokic went and took it right back. Shea is now entering that conversation. I don't think you're putting him up at Jokic level, but no one's saying it's an impossibility for Giannis Antetokounmpo to get back in that conversation, because when we talk about NBA, we talk about ball. But this isn't talking about ball. And this is a big problem. And this is not directly caused by Aja Wilson, but it's everything in the media. The media seems to be ran by Aja Wilson stance. And I mean this. Fee is the best player in the WNBA. And I don't think... There is no argument, by the way, that Fee is not the MVP right now. And by the way, Nneka Collier has had maybe, outside of like a couple of Maya Moore years, you could argue she's had the best start to a WNBA career ever, or WNBA season ever. But yeah, it is pretty much it, lads. I'll see you guys.
It's embarrassing that in the WNBA media and community, you're not allowed to say anything except that Aja Wilson is the best player ever. Faye is the best player in the league right now? No. Question. She has had one of the best starts to a WNBA career or season outside a few Maya Moore years. Honestly, AJ Wilson is the best rim protector. She's not a bad defender by any means, but Fee is the best defender overall in the league. When talking, guards, Lexi Osborne's defense has been exceptional this year. Jackie Young can be a great defender when she wants to be. There are plenty of strong defenders. If you watch Aces games, it's hard to decide who the best player is between Jackie Young and Aja Wilson. Aja had 35 points against a weak Sparks team, which is fine, but Fee has been unbelievable all season. Her consistency is impressive. 30, 28, 23, 28, 33, 16, 24 points in various games. She does everything within the flow of the offense and is incredibly reliable. You might say, it's just a hot start, but she was arguably the best player last season. She averaged 40 points against Phoenix Mercury in the playoffs, carrying her team basically on her own. But you're not allowed to say that because the media is heavily biased. This isn't about basketball anymore. It's a real problem. The media seems to be run by Aja Wilson's camp. I don't think there's any argument that Fee isn't MVP right now. In summary, Nneka Collier has been incredible and is arguably the best player in the world right now. Thanks for listening, lads. Catch you next time.